who we are now and who we're becoming is showing itself. The fact that you all are here, it's good, because this is my time. This time I'm up and reading and trying to find stuff around about spirit and what else I could learn and know. And to have brothers and sisters like yourselves up at this time is like, does my heart good. But, okay, what have we learned about death? Before we go on to the next phase, because what we're going to do now is learn about the different components of how life functions in the body and how health through what they call immunity is an illusion. Right? We kill ourselves. That immunity is an illusion simply because when you immunize the body, you don't strengthen it, you actually have to weaken it. So immunization and tolerance and adaptation is synonymous with weakening the body to tolerate the abuse. So there is no immunity, there is no defensive help against disease. The only defense against disease is the body weakening itself to accommodate the disease action. And we'll see what that means. But can you now show or feel what it is that we were touching upon when we began to speak of why it is that our body has trained itself to die? What were we speaking about when we were speaking about the reasons why the body dies? Remember? Or that part just shut down. Anybody want to just put their hand up and... All right. I said that there was no natural death. I spoke about the fact that there was somatoplasmic death. What does that mean? And what does that improper thinking do? Right? And what does that negative behavior in the body do to the parent self? Overrides and creates a whole other kind of conditioned protoplasm. So there are protoplasmic energies in the body that don't exist, that only exist based upon how you began thinking, and from your thinking, you created these exponents of your habits and of your pathological thinking that began to match it. So as a creator, you began to create your own hell. These somatic cells, these soma cells, are not part of the germ cell, are not part of the parent cell. Even the medical associations know that. Even sisters said there was something different about these soma cells. What the hell was so different? Why is it making something completely different from every other gamete? Because it is not of the original structure. It obeys the rules of illusion. And because we are of the habit of illusion, and because we are constantly in illusion, we create these somatic cells, these somatoplasmic cells, and they begin to override and overrun and become the primary cell structure. And so we live by appetite from day to day, and not from the sun, not from the divine energies that come from the Most High. We live based upon what the appetite motivates us to do from day to day. Our appetite for money, our appetite for power, our appetite, all these appetites grew out of the one appetite of eating. Appetite begets appetite. So when you begin to understand that the appetite and the habit of behaving a certain way has created the conditions to match that bad habit, then you see why we die. And it's something that you got to sit for a minute and say, well, damn, my cellular structure is now overrun with somatic cells, which means that the primary thinking base to my reality is based on bullshit. And the thing about somatoplasmic cells is that they die hard. Because you just try fasting for a little while and see the motherfuckers kick up. Say, shit, you better go get something to eat. So I'll get you the motherfucker. You start playing with them somatic cells and you try to get them in, that's when the hell comes in. That's what they talk about, hell. You start creating them demons, the somatic body is the demon. Because it's not real, and then it is keys you into appetites. That's your devil, Mr. Christian. All right? It's not Lucifer, it's Soma. So when we begin to see that, and we begin to understand that we do not die naturally, and we begin to see that our thoughts are being conditioned constantly by this beast, constantly giving us this bullshit to go out there and buy this, buy that, run there, do this, do that. That is what creates the somatic body to continually create that. And I'll tell you this. Here's the deepest secret. The white man is the somatic representation of our degenerated psyche. I thought I dropped that on you. That's the original vampire. He knows that. He told me that. That's why the sun causes him to go that way. So if you want to deal with degenerative cycles, especially how the so-called black matter man or the dark matter conscious man became subservient to a recessive degenerative aspect of humanity, you would now know that based upon our addiction to somatic behavior, we created in our psyche and our essences this offshoot that came out through the germplasm. And the germplasm began to multiply, and that energy that you saw that's up in Europe became the somatic representation of who we were. So the same body that dies, the same dead kind of consciousness that you have, exteriorizes itself and lives today to rule you, just like your appetites rule you. And that white man is the one who lives on your appetites. He creates appetites so he can live. A parasite conditions his environment for him to live in. So see who he is on the spiritual level. Begin to change the focus of your attention, which is what he wants, is your attention. Because once he has your attention, he has your behavior.